I think we could do a show.
We can do a show. Yay.
All right. All right. Well, I guess let me start over. Hey everybody. Well, welcome back to the our second attempt at the After Hours live stream of the Mike Seibert Radio podcast. And of course, welcome back to Mike Seibert Radio, powered by Poddex. I am your host. So glad to be here with you again. And as you can see, joining me on the live stream this evening is Apollo. How you doing?
Hi, Mike. Glad we got those tech issues worked out. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking.
Excellent. Very good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on. This was this was kind of an impromptu thing. Like we were chatting about all the cool, exciting things going on with Icon Online, and I just happened to mention that I was doing a live stream tonight, and we thought now would be a good time to kind of give a update, because it's been a couple weeks since we did that show together, you, me, and Chally and Lita, and thought it would be just kind of fun to revisit that for a few minutes. But before we get there, I wanted to mention I guess other shows kind of refer to this as housekeeping. So I guess I got a little bit of housekeeping to mention. First of all, I want to talk about the exciting adventure I had this last weekend with my good buddies Yoshi and Greg and Ryan from the Autopod Decepticast. We did a epically long recording session for Transformers Reanimated, which for folks that might not be familiar with that fan fiction project, it started off as a story proposal to IDW Comics, created by Yoshi from the Transmissions podcast and Greg from the Unfunny Nerd Tangent podcast. They came together and wanted to it came from two different places. One, they weren't exactly excited with the output of stories that IDW was putting out, and in the spirit of a lot of things that folks do, it's like, if you want something done, you want to see something done, try it yourself. A lot of us here in live streaming and podcasting and conventions and things like that kind of share that same philosophy. So they came up with this series of stories that more or less takes place between season 2, the end of season 2 of the original Transformers cartoon, leading up to Transformers the movie. There's a 20-year span of continuity there and a lot of stories to tell. And the shortest version of a longer story is that their proposal was flat out rejected. In fact, IDW Comics didn't even look at it. Sent Yoshi a really nice worded letter saying, like, well, this looks like a very nice proposal, but I can't even look at it because we IDW Comics can't look at unsolicited material. So undeterred, they've just been putting it out as putting the scripts out on their website and putting it out as fan fiction. They've commissioned artists to do covers for these comics, and basically the scripts are available on their website, transformersreanimated.com, and you can read them basically in script format. But something we started doing, I don't know, maybe 6, 8, 9 months ago, is since we're all podcasters, we thought it would be fun just to go through the scripts and read them out loud. And I would like to say that we're good at it, but really the way Yoshi puts it, and Greg puts it as well, is that it's just an excuse for us to get together and have some fun and act out these scripts. So there's a lot of scripted drama podcasts Transformers Reanimated is not one of them. So basically, we read the scripts as they're written, but also with some additional commentary and some extra voice acting, and we have a lot of fun with it. It gets the stories themselves aren't out of place with like the season 2 episodes. They're, it's Saturday morning, weekday afternoon cartoon fare. Like, sometimes the violence gets a little intense, but nothing that I would say rises to the level of the stuff in the 86 movies. So anyway, it's a lot of fun there, but the podcasts on the other hand are not so safe for the kiddos. we get pretty rowdy. And so anyway, we've been doing a number of these issues as script readings, putting them up at podcasts, and they're available on transformersreanimated.com. I don't know what other platforms it's available on for podcasts, but I'm sure if you search for it, you'll find it. But anyway, this last weekend we recorded 2 issues, and it's both centered on Bumblebee. And I want to say it was maybe like a year and a half ago, not a year and a half ago, just like a year and a couple months. It was September of last year, now that I think about it. The only reason I think of that is because we recorded the first issue, the podcast version of Transformers Reanimated, on my birthday last year. And I thought I had a take on Bumblebee, and for some reason it stuck. Now I'm not a voice actor. I'm not a voice talent at all. If you listen to my podcast and how often I say and and lose my train of thought, my vocal delivery leaves very much to be desired, and that's not lost on me. But my take on Bumblebee is kind of somewhere in between Luke Skywalker from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and a pimply-faced teen from The Simpsons. Oh, you dropped your taco, sir. I don't want. Oh, but if I had a girlfriend, she'd kill me. It's goofy. And these most recent 2 issues that we recorded for is a 2-part story. The first part is called Food Court Fury, in which Spike and Carly go on a date to the local mall. So there's a lot of like 80s nostalgia, and my dude Ryan Jett from Autopod Decepticast had a blast doing the cover for that. It's got like all like the like Radio Shack and like all the mall trappings, and basically Bumblebee runs afoul of the Insecticons, and he has to muster up the courage to take them on by himself. And that adventure leaves him with some unanticipated side effects, which leads into the next issue, issue 14 of Transformers Reanimated, called A Swarm of Bumblebees. And I don't want to spoil too much of it. I mean, the script's been up for a couple months now, but basically, one of the things that we know about the Generation 1 Insecticons is that they have cloning technology. And what if that cloning technology was used as a weapon against an opponent, and what those kind of consequences would be? And I don't know why I'm being so dodgy, because it's right there on the cover, and it's in the title, and more or less I get to portray several different versions of my Luke Skywalker Bumblebee, including some that are just downright creepy, to the point where when we do these voice recordings, we're often we have 2 speeds. One, we give each other a hard time. It's like, oh, that's the delivery you're going with? Okay. But the flip side of it is that we're also incredibly complimentary. Like, whoa, that was really good. Like Ryan, for example, has a really good take on Shrapnel. And it's just like, I mean, a lot of his vocal deliveries are spot on for the original voice actors. Like he's got a killer wheeljack also, and very, very Generation 1 flavored. Mine are not, but anyway, like, so when I do this character, which I'll only refer to as Other Bumblebee, I did a couple readings, and in my headphones as we're recording, you could just hear a pin drop, because like everybody just was like silent for a couple hot minutes there. And uh finally Yoshi said something. He's like, dude, that's really creepy. That was so cool. And so yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. But what I've discovered, and I don't know if this happens with voice actors or not, but I noticed this when I do a lot of podcasting as well. There's a lot of uh incidental physical exertion to it. Like, you know, I speak with my hands, and especially here on video too. I kind of lean into it. But what I found is, even though I am not an actor or a voice actor or any kind of talent, I tell you what, I was acting my ass off in that. I'm just like, you know, just throwing my body into it, and just like, you know, and when we got done recording, we recorded for, oh my gosh, almost 4 hours. And by the time we were done, I was wiped. I just had nothing left to give. I go home, have some dinner, and I wake up this morning and I'm just sore from like head to foot, and like muscles that I didn't think it would be appropriate to be sore, like, you know, like my elbow and shoulders and all of that stuff. I was just exhausted, and I felt like I had been worked over by a gang of toughs with baseball bats or something, because it was intense. And so I hope that intensity and passion comes across in the recordings that we did there. I've posted in a couple different places on Twitter and Facebook trailers for those 2 issues that they put out a while ago. I'm not sure exactly when the podcast recordings are going to be out. I would imagine it's going to take Yoshi probably a couple weeks to edit those down, because there were 4 of us, you know, recording separately and doing all of that. So it's going to take a little time, but I'm sure I'll mention it when it comes out. But I thought I would mention it now, because like one of the things we're going to talk about in a little bit has to do with animation and voice acting and performances and things like that. So, but yeah, that was part of how I spent my weekend. And yeah, so I had, there was a whole bunch of other stuff I was going to do this evening on the live stream, but then I realized it was maybe a little more mission critical to get the Iacon Online update. But before I kick it over to Apollo, and you've been very patient hanging out with me, listening to my dumb stories, but I have a super exciting guest announcement for later early in the new year. I saw a post on Facebook. It was late last week. Maybe it was Thursday or Friday. I don't remember which, but I saw a post from Stan Bush, who folks that listen to my show primarily know him as contributing to the soundtrack album for Transformers the movie, performing both Dare and The Touch, to you know, I'd say the 2 most prominent songs in the movie. And he has a new album out called Dare to Dream. It's actually available now. It came out on November 20th, but he is doing kind of a promotion for it. Like, you know, he's been active, you know, these last 30 years doing shows and conventions, and as well as continuing to put out albums and music. So anyway, so he has a new album out, and was more or less putting the feelers out to content creators, podcasters, and YouTubers and whatnot. And I put it to the audience because one of the things that I am often asked about, it's like, hey Mike, why don't you ask to interview this person or that person? Or and for me, the thing for my artist spotlight interviews is I feel like it needs to have a base in something to promote. So, like, for example, earlier this year, I talked to Flint Dilley, and something I'd always wanted to do, and probably could have reached out to him at any time and say, hey, man, come on my show. But I don't necessarily believe in wanting to interview somebody just for the sake of it, if that makes sense. I don't consider myself to be a clout chaser, meaning like, oh man, I'm gonna go interview Flint Dilley, or I'm gonna interview Ron Friedman, or I'm gonna interview Kevin Smith, or just to like put notches on the belt. It's like I've never really had any interest in that. It's more about making friends and helping my friends promote their thing. Go back through my last 300 episodes to see that. So I was really excited when Flint Dilley put out a book, and I was like, hey, now's my chance. And sure enough, I had him on the show, and it was a ton of fun. It was great. And go check out The Games Master, by the way. It's a really good book. If you like, if you've ever seen Flint Dilley at a TF Con or just really talk about his work, his book reads like how he talks. And so it's big and boisterous, and it's a lot of fun. But anyway, I kind of felt the same way about Stan Bush. It's like, well, I'd always like to talk to him, but I'm not just going to reach out to him and say, hey dude, do you want to be on my show? Talk about those songs you did 30 years ago. It just felt hollow. But if he's going to put it out there saying like, hey man, I'm looking to connect with podcasters. I put it out to the audience. I was like, what do you think? Should I reach out to Stan Bush? And I almost immediately got like a half dozen people saying, yeah, you should totally do that. So right then and there, I sent him an email, and he actually got back to me this morning, Monday morning, and said, sure, great. And we worked out some scheduling logistics, and it will be we don't have the firmest date yet. We're still kind of going back and forth on scheduling, but it will be the weekend, the second weekend in January, either the 9th or 10th of January. We haven't decided if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday, but it will be one of those 2 days. It will be a live stream here on Mike Seibert Radio. And as we get closer, I'll let you know for sure. But yes, Stan Bush will be on Mike Seibert Radio in January of 2021, talking about his brand new album, Dare to Dream, which again is available now. And I'm actually on his website right now, stanbush.com. If you order his new album from his website specifically, he will autograph the copy and send it to you. So I just saw that, and I thought that was pretty cool. And it's I was listening to a couple of the singles from it, and if you like Dare, if you like The Touch, you're gonna like Dare to Dream, because it is very much in that style and very much in that flavor. So I'm really excited to get the opportunity to chat with another person that has contributed to that movie that has been so special and iconic and important to me. So I'm working my way down the list. I just need more people to write books. But also, though, not to bring down the room, because I was just thinking of other folks that I would like to talk to. There was also some not great news. Apparently, Vince DiCola has been he's got coronavirus, and that's, I mean, we wish him a speedy recovery. And it was just kind of heartbreaking too, reading the post from his manager. I don't have it in front of me, but more or less it's like Vince has been very cautious and he still got it. And that, I guess I'll just use that as my soapbox to say, wear your damn mask,
Yes.
and just, and just be cautious in those times where even where we think we're being the most cautious, perhaps that's still not cautious enough. So I didn't want to bring down the room too much, but like thinking of Stan Bush makes me think of Vince DiCola. And so there was that news that that broke over the weekend as well. And as I said, we wish Mr. DiCola the speediest of recoveries. And so with that, I think that's all I had for announcements. Maybe on next week's live stream, we'll find out what I've got in the box. But
Oh.
the box is just going to go back over here because looking at the time, I've told way too many lengthy stories, and yeah. You ever have that thing where like your brain just literally just stops working? I was just like, and yeah.
It happens all the time to me now. I call it COVID brain, even though I don't have COVID. But it's just it happens to me all the time. I just space out and go, what?
Yeah,
what was I doing?
it's the COVID effect for sure. So but with that being said, again, thank you for taking time out of your busy work schedule to join me here. And I thought for the remainder of the time we've got there, and incidentally, if you want to ask us a question or jump in the chat, you're more than welcome to whatever platform you happen to be watching on, whether it's a Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Twitch. Drop a comment and join us. We'd love to answer your questions. But I thought, since it has been a little while since we've talked about Iacon Online, let's talk about Iacon Online.
Yeah. Okay.
It's happening.
I had so many things I wanted to talk about, like when you were talking, but we will focus on the event. So
Yes.
Been very, very busy with planning this event. There's been a lot of time put into the promotion. Lita has taken over social media and it's blowing up like crazy in a good way. Lots of fun posts. We're getting lots of great applications. We're getting for panelists, cosplayers, and artists. We are asking for more panelists, cosplayer, and cosplay applications because we are just trying to get as many as possible to look through. So if you have an idea for a panel, or if you've got a cosplay that you're working on, please submit it to our event. So, and we're doing for cosplay, we're doing human formers and also rigs. So you can check out our social media site on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and Facebook. We also have a website. Our website launched recently, and you can go there as well to find all those links. So it is very exciting. We're getting a lot of good submissions. Can't say anything quite yet, but we've got some excited stuff planned. And it's just super great seeing so many fans wanting to support this event.
Yeah, for sure. It hasn't been without stress on the planning side, but now that things are starting to really click and take shape, it's really a lot of fun, and it's a lot to be excited about. And we've had so many conversations with so many cool folks, and we've had the opportunity to see so many cool artists, a lot of folks that we know, but a lot that we don't. And I think for me, being part of that process is like, oh, this this artist stuff is really cool. So it's been really neat, as well as, you know, the incredible cosplayers that we've seen, and a lot of like the really neat panel submissions that we've had so far. It's stuff that I wouldn't think of. It's like, what a clever idea. So yeah, it's been really satisfying to see this really spark interest and really start to take shape. Now, I remember when we all got together last time on a live stream, we talked about the deadline for submissions for panels and Artist Alley and cosplay. I believe, if I remember correctly, that deadline was December 19th.
Yes.
Is that still the deadline?
As of right now, it is.
Okay.
That just depends on how many more panel submissions we get and cosplay submissions. We might push it out a week, but for now, we're keeping it the 19th. We're, you know, getting a lot of traffic, more traffic on social media now. So I think the more people that see the event, you know, the more, you know, opportunities we have to get more panels and cosplay submissions, you know, and I know panels take a lot of time to plan. Same with cosplay too. So, you know, I imagine that there are people out there who are planning panels and are just kind of still in the planning process or still unsure about if they should submit or not. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to via DM on the social media channels, or just email us as well. So, and our email's posted on the website. So,
well, one of the things that I've really appreciated and enjoyed seeing is how the website has grown, and how the frequently asked questions section, the FAQ, because people keep coming up with really good questions, and it's like with every good question, it's like, oh, hey, yeah, that's right. So yeah, we should probably address that in the FAQ. So yeah, that's been really cool to see. So we don't have anything to announce currently. We have some really cool ideas. We've got some really cool submissions. But yeah, you're gonna have to wait just a little bit longer. We're hoping to maybe get more of the gang together for a larger, more I guess, I don't know what I would call it, a formal announcement of maybe some of the programming, because we have a couple higher profile panels that again we're really excited about, and that have a lot of moving parts involved. So it's just making sure that all of those parts move together and make sure that we're all good to go before formally announcing stuff. But like we talked about previously, this is a fan convention for fans by fans, and to that end, you know, there's no show without the fans. So we need you, yes, you out there watching or listening, and there it is. Isn't it funny with the mirroring though? It's like like which that is my right side. Oh, I didn't know. But yeah, no, we're Artist Alley is pretty robust, but if you are interested in applying, we're still taking a look at those, but where we're really looking for folks to really kick it in gear is in the panel submissions, and even more than that is the cosplay. We've got some really cool cosplayers that have applied already, and I wish Chally was on the call with us, because she's our resident cosplay expert. I am not, so I can't really speak to that world too terribly much. But like I said, I know we've got some really cool folks already, but we are definitely looking to expand that field. And with the panel programming that I know, in fact, I've actually spoken to at least a few people that are considering doing panels, and they've run some ideas by me, but they haven't submitted it yet. And so I bet
Oh.
you there's a lot of folks that are in that position where they're waiting for the idea to crystallize.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would recommend, if you are one of those folks to where you're kicking around the beginnings of an idea, go ahead and submit it, because then through the communication process, we'll work with you to either help you flesh out your idea or lead to the conclusion that maybe this isn't the right venue for that, because not every idea is appropriate for a family friendly space. And I think that's one thing that we should reemphasize as well, is that, Iacon Online, where All or One is meant to be a family friendly space. And as such, we kind of need to make sure that things are safe for work. And
Yes.
And as a reminder, Iacon Online is a not-for-profit, fan-organized online Transformers event. And again, we're accepting panelists, cosplayers, and Artist Alley submissions. The website is iacononline.wordpress.com. If you're following me on any of my socials, you've seen me aggressively posting about it, and I will continue to do that. You can follow. Where did the link tree go? Is that not?
That got replaced by the website link earlier today.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Because I just happened to be looking on the Twitter there, and I was like, where did that go?
Mm-hmm.
It's all good, but yeah. So you can follow Iacon Online at Iacon Online on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Tumblr as well. I don't think I'm locked out of my Tumblr account anymore. I think I finally got that figured out there. But yeah, I guess outside of that, I'm trying to figure out what else we would like to talk about with regards to Iacon Online. I had a million ideas, and I think unfortunately our technical difficulties kind of torpedoed my thought process a little bit. Got a little scrambled. It's like, this hasn't happened before.
I know. That really threw me off too. But
Yeah.
the cool thing with Iacon Online is we're getting a lot of representation from different groups of people and people that normally don't have a voice at events like this. So we're getting a lot of women, non-binary people, and a lot of LGBTQ representation at this event. So based on the applications we've received so far for everything between panels, cosplayers, and artists, which is really exciting. We are also accepting international submissions too. So if you are someone located in any other part of the world, not just the United States, and you want to do a panel for us, please submit a panel request form, and we'll help work with you on that. If it's going to be too late for you when we do decide the dates for and the times for the event, which we're still figuring out. We're trying to hit as many time zones as possible for the event. That's our plan.
Yeah.
And it's also based on how many submissions we accept for panels. So if you have a panel idea and you're in Tokyo, for example, or just anywhere in any part of the world, please submit a panel application, because we are accepting live panels. We're also doing video panels as well.
Yeah.
So if being up that late's a concern for you, we can play your panel as a video too, and you can have it pre-recorded. So same with artists, same with cosplayers. If you're located in any part of the world, you are more than welcome to participate in the event. This is not just a US based event. It's the entire world.
Yeah.
We have this opportunity with the pandemic to have an event where everyone can participate. So we are keeping that in mind as we review panel submissions and all the other applications, time zones. So that is something we have thought of as well. So please submit applications, especially for panels and cosplay, if you're located anywhere in the world. So
awesome. Very, very cool. I remembered the thing that we were going to talk about that I forgot about talking about. There was a trailer that dropped earlier today, and I was almost going to let that slip away before before we wrapped up the show. But yeah, no, let me bring this up here. Bring that up on the YouTubes, and hopefully YouTube doesn't pull me down for playing a trailer here. I think I could be mistaken, but I think the key to success there. I think the key to success there is making sure that I have the sound turned off. Go into theater mode and go to full screen mode. Okay. All right. So, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
And then we're going to do one of those. And let's see if this works. Oh, hey, what do you know? Look at that. Now get my pesky captions out of the way here. There we go. Yay. So yeah, we'll make like the screen teeny tiny, and maybe Mr. YouTube doesn't take me away. But yeah, what I thought we would do is I'll just we'll roll the new Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy Earthrise series from Netflix. The new trailer just dropped, and I thought we'd just play it and talk about it.
Yes.
Maybe do some commentary and maybe run it a couple times or whatever. But so yeah, so I'm making this up as we go.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, I'm just gonna hit play, and we can chat about it as we go. I mean, immediately you see you got some quintessons, and I just
Alita.
It's her. She's here.
Yes.
This is going to be one of those things where my commentary isn't good. Let me turn on the captions also.
Yeah, we can see what people are saying.
Because I had to go back for the Bumblebee thing. I couldn't remember what the Quintesson said about Bumblebee, and said, "Bring me the ugly one." I'm like, hey.
You could practice your Bumblebee voice now.
Exactly.
Let's go in the void.
It's so funny.
Yay, Hot Link. They had Hot Link.
Yeah.
Yay, finally.
I forget who had said it, but somebody, maybe it was FJ DeSanto, but somebody involved in the show had said everybody that has a toy is in the show. So yeah, it was really cool to see Hot Link there, because there was a lot of Siege figures that weren't in the show. Like, we haven't seen Springer, and there's a few others up the top of my head, but
yeah. And like, was that Nemesis Prime back there that they
sure
showed?
was?
So it's like,
sure
here
was.
we go. That's what I thought when I watched this earlier. And then lots of explosions.
All the explosions.
Megatron getting punched in the face,
or
grabbed in the face.
And this, though, ooh. I mean, this reveal right here, and even the blocking of it. So maybe we'll
look, Unicron.
Yeah, you got the Unicron, and it's so much. It's so much. So let me when this finishes, I'm gonna hit. Is there a restart? Can I hit restart and play it again? Oh, because it hasn't actually finished.
Oh, yeah.
This is really good. This is really good podcasting here. So yeah, I'll just let this continue to run. But But yeah, so you got the captions,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, so
Optimus is obviously captured. There's Alita again.
yeah, there she is again, and
Alita.
Shockwave's looking over her shoulder. You got the quintessence. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
bring me the ugly one. I thought
Yeah.
this was hilarious.
Poor
Which
bee.
poor B. I don't know. He's sassy B, and he's emo Bumblebee because he's got like the guy liner and all. He's Hot Topic Bumblebee.
He is.
Kind
I
of a
actually like his character a lot in Siege. I
yeah.
feel like he was the most real feeling character, with um I don't know if
Hmm.
that makes sense, but I also
Yeah,
liked Alita just because she was amazing and awesome in it
sure.
too. And looks like she's still amazing and awesome. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, because she's basically leading the war effort. Because as far as the Autobots know, the ARC crew are dead.
mm-hmm.
So that adds a really cool dynamic there as well. But yeah, this trailer was a lot of fun. It's really cool. Oh, there's
There's
Nemesis
Nemesis
again.
Prime. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
So I kind of looking ahead to Kingdom, and we know the Kingdom is going to deal a lot with time travel and alternate dimensions and things like that. So I wonder how Nemesis comes into place. It's like, is he just a dark version of Optimus? Is he like a dark reflection from a awful future?
Mm-hmm.
What that might be. So there's that. And then, as we saw here at the um we saw Nemesis earlier, and then
Mm-hmm.
later on at the end of the trailer, I had to get my feet back under me there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no. At the end of the trailer, you see Galvatron,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, as a as near as we can tell, a completely separate character. And
Yeah.
then there's also some and I'll point it out and pause to it when we get to it on this last go around here. But there's some very Transformers the movie imagery there in terms of like what happens to Megatron.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, as this trailer has been out for, I don't know, half a day at this point,
Mm-hmm.
there's probably a million fan theories. Like there was a line there, I just missed it, but they're talking. It says the future is unwritten.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's already a very early indication of time travel.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know how involved time travel and dimension hopping is going to be. But I want to talk about the Megatron Galvatron thing, because
Mm-hmm.
like I'm sure you've got theories about some of the other stuff that we can unpack here as well. But
Mm-hmm.
my thought on the Megatron Galvatron thing, I tweeted this earlier, is that I think that Galvatron is a time traveler
Mm-hmm.
from the future, and
Mm-hmm.
basically his agenda is to steer Megatron on a path that ensures that he becomes Galvatron. Kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, if I don't intercede, well, he had so this right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting some serious 1986 vibes off of this. Like that
Mm-hmm.
that whole scene where Megatron is reformatted by Unicron there,
Yep.
and obviously there he is, and we
There he
know,
is.
and I just noticed it too now that I have it paused. He's very much on model for the HasLab Unicron figure that will be out, because like, look at the
Yeah.
ring. It's got like those extra hook things on there, which I think is super cool. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think because like there was there was a comic book story in the Marvel UK comics called Target 2006, and
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the definitive works of that run, and basically it has the 86 characters coming from the far-flung future of 2006, and it's a little different in that, like, they're kind of like in a Back to the Future type of way, trying to avoid interacting with the characters and making permanent changes.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the opposite, where because we know Cyclonus is going to be part of Kingdom. We have no idea where, if Scourge fits into this or not, but I think that Unicron, Galvatron, probably Cyclonus, I think these are agents of the future, looking to specifically alter the past instead of, like, I don't know, it's bad guy stuff. I don't have it all fleshed out, but
Well,
um
well, Mike, what's your theory on time travel and parallel universes? Like, do you think that if you go back in time, does it affect this timeline, or does it create a whole new timeline?
um Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies, so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where a lot of us kind of go. But
Mm-hmm.
in more contemporary times, in the introduction of parallel universes, I um I don't know if it can be both. I guess I take kind of a I, I believe in both.
Mm-hmm.
I take the Avengers Endgame perspective, it where it blends the Back to the Future aspect of predestination, and what you do in the past can alter the present. But
Mm-hmm.
I also, at the same time, believe in branching alternate timelines, um, and that they can exist at the same time. So, like, one of the
Mm-hmm.
things in Avengers Endgame is, as the Avengers, spoilers, collect the Infinity Stones, when they remove the Infinity Stone from that point in the past, it creates a new timeline, very similar to in Back to the Future Part 2, where that you get the alternate 1985 where Biff is Donald Trump, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the movie, Captain America has to go back and fix them, and and put the stones back. So I think that's an example of how it can be both things at the same time. I feel like the Beast Wars universe, as we see it in Kingdom, is probably an alternate timeline,
Mm-hmm.
but also either in the distant past or the far future, depending upon, I'm not too up on Beast Wars, so I'm it's occasionally been both, from what I understand. So
Mm-hmm.
um but yeah, and obviously, now that we're talking about Beast Wars, it's time travel is not a new concept to Transformers. So I think that yeah, I'm really just kind of scrambling, trying to figure out how that all fits. But that's, to me, that's one of the things, how the Kingdom toy line, and presumably the Kingdom series, how that all kind of comes together. I think that Galvatron in Earthrise will do something to fracture the timeline and the multiversal web or whatever, to where we're going to see these Beast Wars characters cross over, and
Mm-hmm.
even to an extent. Yeah, see, and this is the other thing I is only half cooked as far as my theories go. um we know in Earthrise that the Autobots alt modes are very G1, to the
Mm-hmm.
point where they look like 1980s vehicles. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought almost immediately that at the end of Siege, where they jump through the space bridge, that not only did it take them through space, but also through time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case or not, because we're not seeing a whole lot of Earth actually rising in the Earthrise trailer. So I don't know how it's all going to come together, but yeah, I think there's going to be some kind of time jump to the 1980s Earth, where they scan Earth modes of the era, and then I think the conclusion of Earthrise will be that there's going to be some catastrophic temporal event where timelines and universes are bleeding over. I think I'm just repeating myself at this point, but that's kind of what I think. Meanwhile, Alita 1 will lead the war for Cybertron, the titular war for Cybertron, against the remaining Autobots as they defend their homeland against the evil Decepticons. What do you think?
Well, I think obviously I think Earthrise is going to end. It's going to involve Unicron, I believe, because obviously we saw that lovely video footage of Unicron.
Yeah, man.
I think that Nemesis Prime is from the future too, and I think that's who Optimus turns into in an alternate timeline. And I don't know why he's coming back. I think it's for nefarious reasons. I don't think it's to warn him. Just based off of what I can see. I do think Galvatron's from the future as well, and I think he is steering Megatron on the path of most destruction. Because if we're going based off of G1, which a lot of this war for Cybertron is kind of a tribute to G1, is that, Galvatron is Unicron's puppet, pretty much, his reluctant puppet. And so he's going to steer Megatron towards fulfilling his destiny, which is to become Galvatron, and maybe Unicron's in a alternative universe too, and they have to bring, they're trying to bring Unicron in. Maybe Unicron is some sort of cataclysmic event that happens throughout multiple universes and comes through and destroys them and whatnot. So
yeah, because I remember when Hasbro was doing the aligned continuity, and their stance on it is that in certain, I forget how it is, but more or less Unicron is a singular being. It's like there aren't multiple Unicrons. There's one Unicron in the multiverse. So I wonder if that's them trying that. Considering there is that $600 action figure. So I wonder if they would put that there to kind of juice up the character a little bit. Do you think that because again we're talking about time travel, but then we're also talking about alternate timelines. Do you think that Nemesis and Galvatron are from the same place?
I don't think so. I think they're from different timelines and from different universes. And I don't think they're working together.
Right. Now, if I remember correctly, the Nemesis Prime figure who is in that spoiler box, spoilers for anybody who bought that and didn't know what it was. I still saw folks posting online that they bought the Siege spoiler box and were somehow surprised that there was an Ultra Magnus in it.
What?
It's like, buddy, I can't help you.
No.
But that figure, much like most Nemesis Prime figures do, does have a Decepticon badge. And I think that badges and allegiances are more important in the war for Cybertron continuity with regards to the cartoon, definitely. But in that they've really propped up the mercenary faction. And we talked about this previously, you know, how relevant that is, because like the first trailer we saw for Earthrise featured Double Dealer and the Coneheads and, you know, Exhaust and Bug Bite, and really trying to prop up the mercenary faction as another threat. Plus you got the Quintessons. So it's I don't know. I hope that it doesn't get too convoluted, because I don't know how many episodes it is. If it's like Siege, I would imagine that Earthrise is only going to be like 6 episodes. And while I liked Siege, I do also think that they were trying to cram a lot of plot into not a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
So I wonder, because like I think with all of the stuff that we're talking about, it's going to be all of that and a bunch of other stuff that we're not even thinking about and talking about. I think I am afraid that it's going to end up being too jam packed.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like full on, I agree with you, Mike, on that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just is there anything that you would like to see, either based on you know, like an idea aroused from the trailers, or something from the toys, or threads from the Siege show? Is there anything that you in particular want to see? What's on Apollo's checklist of what you want to see in Earthrise?
Oh my gosh. Well, just obviously more Alita, which it seems like we're going to be getting a lot of her, because she was my favorite character from Siege. I'm glad to see Hot Link, so that's made my checklist as well. I want to see Starscream. Where is he? Like,
He's not in any of them trailers.
He's
It's
not
so
in
weird.
any of those trailers. That's kind of strange.
Hmm.
I think it's hitting most of the marks, you know, other than the lack of Starscream, which we'll probably find out why he's not in there. You know, like it has time, you know, we're just assuming it's going to have time travel. That's like one of my favorite storyline types is time travel, hands on. Love Back to the Future and Chrono Trigger and anything that involves time travel. So I'm really excited about seeing those. Trying to think of if there's anything else. Well, we need to see Earth at some point because it is called Earthrise. Like it's
see
like
the actual Earthrise.
Yeah, it's just like okay. Yeah, like I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that I would like to see in Earthrise, you know, based off of like the figures that have come out and whatnot. Right. Like I'm really excited about Kingdom a little more than Earthrise because I actually grew up watching Beast Wars. You know, I didn't know it was a Transformers show when I was a kid watching it. Yeah. But I loved Beast Wars. Like I love Beast Wars Megatron, and I just love all those characters. You know, Cheetor and all the others, and so I'm really excited about that. But I am more excited, definitely more excited about Earthrise than I was Siege. Like I think Siege had a lot of setup and they did cram a lot of stuff into it. And I'm hoping, you know, and I don't know if you heard this, Mike. Do you know if it's going to be another short series or they're going to be more episodes?
I haven't heard specifically. Okay. I just kind of imagined based on that same template. That it would be a half dozen episodes. I don't know if Netflix has specifically announced it one way or the other.
Yeah, because like quite honestly, I think it needs at least like 13, like for them to do everything they want to do. I do think it's going to be very crammed packed, like as we said earlier. Yeah, I can't, you know, I'm curious to see more of Jetfire. I mean, we saw him in the trailer. You know, it'll be great to see him, you know, grow up into being an Autobot, you know. So That'll be interesting as well. I wonder if any of the other characters from the Siege show are going to show back up again. Like
Yeah.
some that we saw just briefly. So,
I would like to hope that now that there are more characters, that we will actually see fewer nameless, faceless dupes.
mm-hmm,
Like we saw a lot of hounds. We saw a lot of sideswipes. We
mm-hmm,
saw a lot of reflectors.
mm-hmm,
I would almost rather see more seekers than more reflectors, and
mm-hmm.
that was something I was a little disappointed in. Is just how many generics there. And I think it was on More Than Meets the Pod, but they said like, yeah, that Thunderdome looks awfully empty. It's
Yeah,
just there's nobody around. It's kind of weird. So I would like to see more. No, I would like to see fewer generic characters. I'd like to. I don't want to be greedy, but I would like to see a little more transforming.
mm-hmm.
See a little more transformation. But for me, to the surprise of exactly nobody, I want to see more Sound Blaster.
Yeah,
He's got to come back, because that to
mm-hmm,
me was like, I mean, Alita was definitely the MVP. Don't get me wrong. Followed closely by Jetfire. I
mm-hmm,
think both of their characters got a lot of good play. But like when Sound Blaster showed up, I think what it was is because it hit me so hard because it was a surprise.
mm-hmm.
To where it's like, well, this is a different take on the character. I am here for this. Tell me more.
Yes,
So, and
yeah,
I like that when you can do something different from a character that's essentially a repaint, and make them a completely different character. So I'm
yeah.
intrigued with that. And I'd also like to see if Astro Train is really as big as we saw him at the end of Siege, because he a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you haven't seen a lot of Cyberverse, or have you caught up?
Nah.
Okay, you haven't caught up, but he's a big boy in that too. He's a big boy. So,
Really?
mm-hmm.
All right. So
Yeah.
maybe that's where they're taking some of their visual
Mm-hmm.
cues then, and kind of like the way that he's portrayed there.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
and also in the IDW2 comic, he's pretty big too. So, um
Well, he is a leader class figure, so I wonder if perhaps that's where they're where they're taking their cues from.
mhm.
But yeah, it's like when he showed up in Siege, I was like, is that a walking statue? Oh my god, that's Astro Train. It's him. He's here.
Yep. Yes. He's definitely a presence, but yeah, Sound Blaster is definitely a character I want to see return, because like I love that whole sequence when B and Alita, or not Alita, RC and I'm blanking on the third character who is with them, who just like the guns pretty
Oh,
much.
Cog.
Yeah, Cog. They go in there like to his base pretty much, and it's just he was a surprise too, because I just thought he was just going to be a toy, that you buy, and it's just different
Yeah.
colored sound wave, and it's like, nope, he's real and he's awesome. So
Yeah.
and it's just really exciting to see that now, to know that all the toys are going to be on the show. That's really cool, actually. So
Yeah, even like a lot of like the Generation Selects figures, like all of these weird homages and repaints, like you've got that white bumblebee that's
mm-hmm.
that's a bug bite. You've got the
Mm-hmm.
and again you've got like the classic Diaclone callback version of Wheeljack. He's a mercenary, he's exhaust, and I think it's awesome that I mean, I don't know, like the Generation Selects line has really been killing it with like some deep cuts. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you've got like a Sandstorm, like the unused G2 cone heads.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I'd like to see those folks show up. And I liked how they used the weaponizer gimmick. Like
Mm-hmm.
you brought that up earlier with that sequence in Sound Blaster Citadel
Yeah.
with RC basically having all of Cog's guns, which I thought was super rad. But it also uses the most popular gimmick of the Siege toys was the weaponizer gimmick. And with Earthrise, they were doing the same thing with like Micromasters and bases. And I wonder if like Battle Masters are going to be a thing, or like again how they incorporate the bases and the Micromasters. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate that aspect, because again, we haven't seen any of those in the trailer. But you know, if it's to be believed that all of the toys make it in the show, um yeah, that could be really neat, because I kind of like some latter day like 1987 characters with with like all the target masters and the power masters. And yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had there.
Yeah, really quick, like, because I know we're getting late on time, like, but you know, we brought up all the toys are going to be used, and that that maybe like they're kind of doing with Unicron how there's just one throughout all the different timelines and multiverses.
Yeah,
Well, there's a Rung toy too, and
it's
so
true.
how is Rung going to be used in all this? Is he just going to be a minor character, or is he really going to actually, are they going to take note from the IDW1 run and go
Yeah,
from that? That'd be interesting. It'll be interesting to find out.
I didn't even think of that. You're absolutely right. And it's so funny with like, a lot of these Earthrise toys, they came out so long ago, and Transformers fans are so fickle and funny. We're so fixated on what the next thing is. So,
Mm-hmm.
we're already worried about like, Kingdom reveals and and Studio Series 86 and all of that other stuff that's going on. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Earthrise is still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting, and that drops on December 30th.
Yeah.
So, I would imagine by the time we get around to Iacon Online, we'll definitely have the opportunity to revisit that and maybe unpack some of the War for Cybertron Earthrise TV show a bit before we get into the con, as well as returning to do some reveals and maybe do some other cool projects as well, because there's some other like streaming opportunities and some other cool stuff that we're kind of thinking about doing, that I think is going to be a lot of fun. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. I don't want to reveal too much now, but I tell you what, Apollo, it is always fun having you on the show. I know we had some technical difficulties at the front end that kind of messed up our game a little bit, but I think we still gave the folks a good show while we were here.
Yep.
So before we part ways for now, because I know you got work to do and I got a podcast to finish up. Can you let folks know where we can connect with you on the internet, how we can connect on the social medias, perhaps give out some commission information as well, because I know your comms are open, and then also just let folks know real quick about Iacon Online as well, before we close out.
All right, Mike. So everyone, just a reminder, I'm Apollo. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RoboApollo, and I am open for commissions. I'm finishing one up. So please hit me up if you want one. I love drawing robots. I do this for fun. I'd really like to draw stuff for you. I also draw a lot of stuff just for fun as well. So would appreciate the follow. And also just a reminder, I'm part of the team for Iacon Online. So you can find info on the convention at Iacon Online on all the major social media channels. And hope to see your panel and cosplay submissions. And thank you, Mike, for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure. I always feel honored to be on your show. So thank you so much. And I think we recovered well considering all the tech problems. So
yeah, so as folks go through the video feed, they'll see 3 minutes of you and I talking, but we can't hear each other.
Yeah.
But you could hear us. So I'm sure the audience was just like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
but we managed. We survived. We fooled them again.
Yes, we did. It was all an act, I swear. No.
There it is. And with that, we will close out for this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to the podcast. And if you want to listen to my podcast, Mike Seibert Radio, and all of my past shows, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, or wherever the heck else you listen to your podcast, and check out the full show archive out on SoundCloud. 5 years and over 300 episodes worth of old shows there, going back to my KGRG college radio days. And tune in for the After Hours live stream Monday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific time, right here on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. Like, share, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you like and what you'd like to hear more of in the future. Mike Seibert Radio is powered by Poddex. For Mike Seibert Radio, my name is Mike.
I'm Apollo.
And until next time, wear your mask, wash your hands, and make good choices.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.